Do you think this dress will make her realize that I'm the most beautiful here, or is it better to wear something shorter? Layla did not stop spinning in front of the mirror, assessing her image. Layla, it's Camila's birthday. Why is it so important for you to outshine her? The husband remarked gloomily, looking up from the newspaper. Because there is only one queen here, she proudly declared, tossing aside a long dress. Matthew took a deep breath, deciding not to get involved in this argument anymore. Let Layla decide for herself what to wear and how to behave. After all, it was up to her to communicate with these people, not him. His wife was always confident in herself and her irresistibility. It was this self-confidence that once won Matthew over. After all, it is impossible to truly love someone who does not love himself. Layla has never had a problem with that. She always knew what she wanted and firmly believed in her choice. She got along with Matthew quickly. Communication between them was easy and relaxed. When Layla was waiting for Sophia, her desire to prove something to others all the time subsided. She became calmer, softer, more compliant. But after the daughter turned 5 years old, there were changes in her behavior again. After seeing her classmates and friends climb the career ladder on social media, she couldn't help but feel a twinge of resentment. Following the birth of their child, her husband urged Layla to focus on raising Sophia instead of pursuing her career. Layla agreed, but now she found herself without an outlet to showcase her talents, and how she longed for that sense of accomplishment. So when their daughter started attending kindergarten, Layla became determined to ensure Sophia won every competition. She would have loved to participate herself, but the opportunity never arose. That's why, when her husband noticed an ad in the newspaper about a beauty contest for moms in their city, he quickly folded it up and tucked it away. If Layla got wind of it, she'd be over the moon and completely obsessed. For the next few days, he carefully avoided turning on the local TV or browsing the news in front of his wife. But his efforts were in vain. Layla heard about the contest from the other moms at kindergarten. That evening, the only thing she could talk about over dinner was the event. She was already making plans, deciding which salon to visit before the qualifying round to leave everyone in awe. There wasn't a doubt in her mind that she'd make the cut. All she needed was to dedicate every spare moment to this endeavor. Layla breezed through the qualifying round with ease. At the casting call, her charm and sociability won everyone over. Thrilled, she even signed up for a modeling school to perfect her runway walk. The competition might not have required high-stakes preparation. After all, they weren't in the capital. But Layla was unstoppable, diving into this venture with all her heart. The first stage of the competition was also successful, and Layla's joy knew no bounds. Her training has become even more intense. Despite her lack of work and seemingly endless amount of free time, she filled every spare minute with practice. She planned visits to beauty salons and modeling classes. Even Grandma came to pick up our daughter from kindergarten. Naturally, the husband was not happy with this turn of events. He shared his concerns with Layla, but she only criticized him for not supporting her long-held dream. Then an unusual situation arose. When Matthew came home from work, only his mother-in-law and little Sophia were there to greet him. "Hello, where's Layla?" he asked, puzzled. "She's at her modeling class, working on her walk," his mother-in-law replied, giving her granddaughter a kiss and saying goodbye to her son-in-law before heading out. Annoyed, Matthew picked up the phone and tried calling his wife. The phone was off. Fantastic. Layla stumbled through the door only after their daughter was already asleep. Trying to keep his cool, Matthew calmly asked how she could be out so late. The class ran over, but it was worth it. "You'll see, I'm definitely going to win," Layla replied with a confident grin. From that point on, tension began to build in the family. Matthew hoped it would blow over soon. He figured Layla would tire of the contest eventually, and they could have a serious talk then. There was no need for more arguments. He tried to keep the peace, but one incident would change everything. At the next stage of the competition, Matthew was in the audience, seated close to the stage. During the first fashion show, he noticed one of the judges giving Layla a rather intense look as she strutted by, and his wife. She clearly saw it and responded with a flirtatious smile. Matthew's unease grew. Unsettling thoughts and doubts started swirling in his mind. He recalled all the jokes about beauty queens and their notorious antics, and remembered Layla's extended practice sessions. The discomfort lingered, and he couldn't shake the feeling. The only way to put his mind at ease, or confirm his worst fears, was to see for himself whether there was something between his wife and the judge. After dropping their daughter off at her grandparents' house, Matthew decided to follow Layla on her next trip to the modeling school. He flagged down a taxi for her, but to his dismay, the car didn't head toward the modeling school. Instead, it pulled up to a nondescript apartment building. Layla got out, pulled out her phone, and began dialing. A few moments later, a man emerged from the building, greeted her with a warm embrace, and kissed her on the cheek. Matthew's heart raced as he recognized the man. It was definitely the same judge from the competition. So this was Layla's strategy to win the contest, leveraging connections. As the couple started heading back into the building, Matthew quickly exited the cab and followed them. Fortune smiled on him. A resident was just leaving and held the door open for him. Matthew trailed several floors behind them, listening to their animated conversation about their grand plans. They finally entered one of the apartments, and Matthew took note of the number. He decided to wait a bit before making his move, nervously lighting a cigarette and contemplating how to confront this situation. Summoning his courage, Matthew approached the door, turned the handle, but it was locked. He began knocking loudly and ringing the bell repeatedly. A moment later, the door creaked open, and the startled host, wearing a hastily thrown-on robe, peered at him in shock. Matthew could see his wife emerging slowly from the bedroom, her demeanor calm and collected. Matthew burst into the room, pushed Layla's lover away, and headed straight for her. He grabbed the man by the shoulder, and a violent scuffle ensued. Layla screamed in panic. Matthew punched the man in the face several times before Layla, who was trying to intervene, lost her balance and fell so that her front tooth was knocked out and her lip was cut. In a single evening, Layla lost her influential patron. The judge, now sporting a black-eyed and bruised face, could hardly show up to the competition looking like that, and without his backing, her chances were dashed. To make matters worse, Matthew refused to pay for her dental repair, and her face was marred by a bruise that even the heaviest foundation couldn't fully conceal. As a result, Layla didn't win the competition. It wasn't just the excessive makeup and her forced smile hiding missing teeth. Her confidence and charm had evaporated. Her marriage was crumbling. Matthew had already thrown her out. Was it worth it? A pointless competition had caused her to lose sight of everything important, driven by a desperate need for validation that led her to ignore her family. Now, all that awaited was a divorce and a reputation tarnished by debt and gossip. Such scandals never stay hidden from the prying eyes of the neighborhood.